welcome back to Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm still Eric.
And this is
Are you going to sky jump? Are you going to get out of a plane and go up? Are you going to sky jump?
Dude, for people who
that
are
might
watching
not be possible.
this video outside of the omnibus, they have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, we welcome Rasco once again to the program, for those of you that have not been watching the omnibus already. And Rasco's going to get to actually say some stuff now, which is exciting. Rasco, we're going to put 15 minutes on the clock, and we're going to talk about a really fun and interesting, I think, Geeks Not Nerd topic. Today's topic was thought up, dreamed up by yours truly. And what I want to talk about today, guys, is voiceovers and narration in movies. When we think it's effective or necessary. We've talked a lot about voiceovers in movies, and it's a thing I bring up a lot, especially in superhero things, because I think a lot of the time we like to really rely on those things to make it seem like we have some kind of a message or something in a film when we didn't really actually get there organically, just to spell things out, hold people's hands. And I think it's also a crutch for when we make a film and the film's not coming together and coalescing, and we have to hodgepodge a bunch of stuff together, and it's not anything like whatever the original script was, and so we bookend it with a voiceover that tells you this is what you should have experienced even if you didn't. But it's not always like that, and so I want to talk about the positive things about voiceovers. Sure. I want to talk about when this is a good idea, when it should be used, and I think it's probably almost always a kind of a risky move. But, Rasco, what do you think? Like the first thing that comes to your mind, when do you think it ends up being a really natural thing to do?
Okay, so I think that it makes the most sense when you're adapting something from, like, a book to screen, and there's a lot of, like, goodness and chocolate to the story that's kind of only inside the character's head because it's from the first person. So, like, something like American Psycho is a movie where I don't think that movie is nearly as good if there's not
American Psycho and Fight Club are my immediate go-tos for this is when narration really works.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I was like, well, we're going to be talking about Fight Club again.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so I think that this is the one example where I think that it's typically this is the one thing where I understand the logic, and there's a practical reason why you would do it, and that's adapting something from the book to screen when there's so much of that goodness that is in just kind of what's going on in the character's head if it's from the first person perspective. Outside of that, I'm really confused about this, honestly, because it's not something that I ever dislike, but it's one of those things where it probably should bother me, but it doesn't bother me.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
For example, in something like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, that's like a go-to thing a lot of people make fun of. At the same time, I can't sit here and be like, yeah, it jumps out to me, I hate it, and it's unnecessary, get rid of it, because it doesn't jump out to me, but I understand the logic behind, like, yeah, this is just kind of unnecessary and just here to spell out things. So outside of adapting books to screen, I can't think of, like, a great example where, like, it makes a lot of sense.
Do you have another example besides that, of just another way we use it, that you think is really effective?
I mean, stylistically, anything hard-boiled or noir kind of a thing.
Sure.
Sometimes it can feel missing without that. But that's a very stylistic choice. The rule of thumb
it becomes a lot of part of the atmosphere, right?
Yeah. It's part of how it feels.
It's like that language ends up being part of the language of the piece.
The rule of thumb that they talk about on one of the 15 commentary tracks for Fight Club is, and this has always stuck with me, and I don't know if this isn't like a hard and fast rule, but it should always add to the piece, but it should never. You should be able to watch the movie and take it out and still follow it.
Yeah.
It should never be in place of tracking the plot of the film or the arc of the film. But it should still also add to the film.
That's interesting because I think sometimes it can be useful for giving exposition, because it can be obviously so, and we talk about this all the time, so incredibly clunky to have exposition in dialogue where somebody is forcing it into it seems to be forcing it into their language just for the audience's benefit. But you're right, at the same time, if you're looking at a narratively driven medium, you don't want too much of what you need to follow the story, unless it's a really like conversationally driven film, but then should any of that be in the voiceover? It's conversationally driven.
The two times I tend to think it works is when it's something that's like hardboiled noir, where it's like very stylistic, and then almost any time they're talking to me, because that is the thing you get a lot of times with voiceover. It's like, well, who are they even talking to?
Yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is another film where they're clearly talking to the audience viewing the film. Or Kick-Ass has this as well.
Yeah.
I think that almost always works for me.
Say it again.
Martin Scorsese movies.
Yeah. Yes. Wolf of Wall Street has that as well.
Yeah.
Where he's regaling you with the story of his life.
I wanted to ask you guys, do you... And obviously I'm sure this is case by case. I'm sure this is a depends question, like so many things are. But do you guys usually need a context? Do you usually need to know why a person is talking to you, especially in a more realistic film? Like forget hard-boiled stuff, but like, for instance, I don't know if I just have this on my brain because I've been going back to this movie and working on a I guess I'm going to reveal this. I'm working on the Iron Man 3 rewind. I don't know if that voiceover doesn't feel really intrusive to me without the after credits scene. I kind of think I needed it there.
I think a lot of times with voiceover, voiceover works a lot better just as a viewing experience when we have like a framing device.
Right.
You see a lot of it where it's I think Catch Me If You Can does this.
Yeah.
Where it's
I forgot about that.
We create a narrative device so that we can have them talking. I think that almost always makes it a little bit better where you're like, okay, they're talking to someone. This is why we're doing it this way.
Go ahead, Rasco.
Yeah, I was going to say that sometimes when you kind of like structure a film around the fact that it is a story being told, it really works. So like you can do a thing where the first scene of the movie is like the last thing that happened in the first act, and it's like the person explaining what has happened, but you start with like what happened last, and it's like a framing device in that way. When your story is kind of like conceptualized from the ground up to be told, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like what I hesitate to say is that it's always it can always be a good idea as long as there's a context, because that kind of implies that there's this like hard and fast rule that as long as there is some reason it's there beyond the actual reason it's there, it's automatically good. I think you can have and that's why I'm on the fence a little bit on the Iron Man 3 voiceover. I kind of don't know if it's okay, if it's good, that I was more okay with it once I had that, because I still felt like it was a little bit too like coming out and telling me what the movie's about.
My issue with that one is that it drops out.
Yeah.
And it feels like
it would be better if
it
kept jumping in a little bit.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it wasn't there more in earlier drafts or in a different kind.
Because what I think it had the potential to do is get us more into Tony's head, because it's such a character study for that character. And I mean, all three of those movies are kind of that way. But and I don't want to just sit here and give you the rewind right now. But I kind of like that. That's the movie where he's doing that because he's allowing himself to finally be more introspective than he has before, and he's allowing himself to look more at his own inner flaws. And so there's a can of worms where once he starts psychoanalyzing himself, he's sort of like Bruce Willis when he's in Friends, where he never allows himself to actually look at himself critically, and then once he does, he just won't stop crying. It's kind of that thing. But I don't want to say it's good as long as there's a framing device. I think
because there are plenty of films where it works without a framing device, or it needs it. Memento, I think, is a film that absolutely needs its voiceover.
Yeah, sure.
Because you have to be inside that character's head. That story requires that. It's case by case, like so many things.
You have that thing where movies sometimes want to be novels, especially when they're based on novels, and the film medium is restrictive in certain ways, and books are restrictive in certain ways, where there's a lot more things, obviously, in prose that you have to explain because you can't show them. But it's very difficult to have a film from the first person. But sometimes there are certain kinds of stories that feel like they want to be told that way, even if it's a visual medium, I think. Yeah,
I agree. I And I've always been less hard on voiceover narration than you are. It bothers me way more.
I'm a stickler for it. Yeah,
and I don't have that.
And sometimes I'm afraid I'm too much of a stickler for it. Where like I'm trying to give it. I don't want to immediately go, okay, that's bad because there's someone talking and there's not a context for it. But I mean, obviously, I just don't want to be insulted, and a lot of the time that's what it is. Where it's aiming at the crowd that says as long as it explains why it does a thing, it's effective. Mm-hmm. And the movie I always like to go to for that is Maleficent.
Is there a voiceover in that? I never saw it.
Oh, it's maybe the worst of all time.
Oh wow.
It's worse than Constantine, and Constantine has a really bad voiceover. At the end, which didn't bother me until I wrote about it. Mm-hmm. But it gets to the end, and Constantine tells you what the movie's about, and then I analyzed the movie and said, no, it's not. That's not what that movie's about. What are you talking about? No. Well, and part of it is just because of what she's saying. But like that movie opens with like there was this really kind-hearted girl, and her name was Maleficent, and I can't even handle that. But that's a whole other thing. But anyway.
Well, and I think one of the things about voiceover, much like first-person novel writing, is it works really well when it's used really well. And if it's not, it looks amateurish.
Right, yeah.
I think that's... I think
and it can look plugging in for a formula.
Yes, yes, and I think those two kind of go hand in hand, especially when you're trying to be more intellectual and artsy in both prose and film. I think when you do first person or narration, it can look more amateurish than you want it to.
I watch a lot of like short films online, and one of the things that I'll notice all the time is almost any time there is voiceover, it is literally there to substitute doing any sort of like character building, or like they just want to explain to you everything because they haven't figured out how to convey it naturally.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the only dialogue in the piece will be stuff that moves the plot forward. All of the relationships will be explained to you in voice. That is the worst, and that is in a lot of just fan films that people make online. So yeah, when you said amateurish, like absolutely, it comes across as amateur when it's just literally there in place of terrible expositional dialogue. Like that's what it's there for.
I think voiceovers can be great in farces, and I think they should be used more often in farces.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things in a comedy is when you have and I guess Kick-Ass is not an example of this, but an example of a comedy that uses voiceover well. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have thought of that example. But you're right. I do like the voiceover there.
Yeah, me too.
The Lost reference dates it too much, but I do agree with you on that. But like one of my favorite things is when a voiceover says is telling you the story like it's a fairy tale or something, and the voiceover says a thing and then the character immediately says that thing verbatim. That's always funny.
There's at some point I'll show you Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because I'm just going to show you all of Shane Black's movies. It is my favorite voiceover.
Yeah.
Because it is him telling a story and he interrupts himself at points and it's like I forgot to show you this thing. Let me go show you this thing that I forgot to show you because it's important. I made a big deal about it. And like I like when the voiceover is interacting with you, the audience
of your own narrative. Yeah. Deadpool does it well.
Yeah, Deadpool does do it well. Deadpool does it very well.
And Deadpool was a given where, of course, it was going to do it, but I mean, it did it really well. And I was also going to say, in having said Deadpool...
And Deadpool also has that interacting with the audience kind of...
Yeah. And having said Deadpool, I guess this ends up being a really nice segue to the second thing I was going to say is the second, not a genre, but like kind of storytelling where this works really well in film is with a really unreliable narrator. Mm-hmm. And Deadpool has that, where there's all these places where I don't actually know for sure if that's how it really happened or if he's just showing it to you that way, and that's how you can get away with some things like in his fictional real world, he's got the Deadpool figure from Origins. Like that's how you get away with that. Is that's a fourth wall break without actually being a fourth wall break. But unreliable narrator, I think, can be both in comedies and dramas can be funny, but also really interesting. Where you have where like you're learning a lot about a person and maybe some like how like. What's the word I'm looking for? They're how in denial they are about things when they're telling you it happened a certain way, but you're watching it happen a different way.
Yes, a movie that I've seen do that really well I don't like the movie because I think the third act kills the movie. But the movie that does that really well is Lucky Number 11. It shows you things where it is being narrated, and you are seeing it the way that he's saying it's happening, but it's shot in such a way that you're like, this is off, this can't be right, and you later kind of see things the way that they actually happen, and that works really well.
And that's a thing I'm seeing more and more in comics.
Yeah.
We like to do that a lot.
Yeah. And it just... there's something that's just immediately effective about it, where it's like, just... You see words, and you know someone's telling someone something, and you're seeing the exact opposite image.
Yeah.
It's something about that is just super effective.
Final thoughts, guys? We're almost out of time.
It works when it works. It doesn't work when it doesn't work.
Don't rely on it. That's like the biggest thing.
Don't
like,
use it as a crutch.
If you're using voiceover because you can't figure out a way to explain something to the audience naturally in story, that's probably not the time when you should be using voiceover. You should use it when you have like an inspired or really like obvious reason for why you think it's necessary. But if it's a crutch, then that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be a major part of, like with Fight Club, like a major part of, like a major mechanic. I think it can be a really good device.
Mm-hmm. And you've not seen American Psycho, right?
No, I still haven't.
Okay, it's much the same way.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and go into rants now? And Rasco, what would you like to... I know rants is Rasco's favorite thing. He showed up for rants. He's probably going to leave right after rants. Rasco, I'm kidding. What would you like to rant about today? What would you like to complain about today, sir? And here comes the pitch.
Okay, so... it kind of is a surprise, but at this point, it's looking like Justice League is kind of a box office disaster in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I've seen some funny campaigns on the internet to like kind of try to save the film, but this one was my favorite because it just really annoyed me. So, have you guys heard of it's called 6 for the 6? Have you heard of this movement?
Do you buy 6 movie tickets?
The idea is that there are a lot of people that feel like if Justice League, if it really is as big of a disaster as it is, they might scrap the DC universe, they might reboot, and there's a lot of people that don't want that. So there's a campaign that people have started called 6 for the 6, where if you saw Justice League and liked it, they want you to buy 6 tickets and go 6 times to make up for all the people that don't want to go see the movie or saw it but will not see it again. I understand, we all have a film franchise.
I don't understand that, and when you're finished with your rant, I will explain why, even if you like that movie, that is a preposterous, horrible idea. Sorry, go ahead.
So I understand. We all get passionate about things that we want to see do well, and it hurts us when they don't do well. That being said, if people are not responding to a film, they're not responding to a film. This idea I hate because it reinforces this, hey, put out whatever you want and we'll just eat it up, and even if people don't like it, we'll organize to save your movie, regardless of quality. Now, these people, apparently they like where the franchise is heading, they like these movies, and that's fine. But I hate this idea. It's like saying, all right, guys, I want you to go out and vote for 6 people. Don't just vote for yourself. Commit identity fraud 5 times and vote as all of these people to represent this opinion. It's weird.
I mean, the stakes are higher. Like, that's illegal, and I understand why someone would actually think to want to do that if it wasn't illegal. The stakes are big, but yes, you're right. It is a lot like that.
Yeah, it just box office results. It shows you how an audience is responding to something, and I understand why people leave a franchise if they like it, but at the same time, you need to let it die. Are you going to do this for every after?
I have so many thoughts.
In some ways, this needs to happen because Warner Brothers needed to be sent a message like, no, they really did mess up with Suicide Squad and BVS. They need to know they really, really messed up.
I have so many thoughts. Rasco, I'm gonna throw out a couple thoughts. So BVS is actually, I think, the reason, of course, that movie's not not successful. So when you say people are responding to your movie, no, they're responding to BVS, and this is the consequence of that, and they. Yeah, I guess they deserve it. Like that's kind of how I feel it. What I mean is, it is, to your point, it is important that they know that, but also they were course correcting in the right way. If we save that movie, Warner's is going to want to keep going in that direction. And if they stick to their guns, we might talk about this a little bit later too, with the Captain's Log. If they stick to their guns and stop worrying about the continuity stuff, and they just make good movies, then they're going to be able to save their brand, and they're going to be okay. They need to cut their losses and not look at what's going on with this. This is a product of another time, basically. I mean, they had Whedon come in and try to fix it. It would have been even more of a product of another time if Snyder's cut had actually come out.
It does feel like a movie that came out in 2005.
Yeah.
This is a pre-Batman Begins movie.
Yeah, but like, you want to. So even if you like Justice League, you want to save it to what end? Like, I mean, maybe you don't agree with me, and you're really worried that we're not going to keep going in that direction and make everything real continuity heavy, and you're afraid that certain characters aren't going to get, you know, movies and stuff. But in my opinion, the big announcement they put out a few weeks ago, where they said that we've talked about, where they said we're gonna do the Elseworlds movies thing. We keep calling it that. They haven't called it that. But
yeah.
we're gonna do out of continuity movies, and we're gonna do DCEU movies, but the DCEU kind of doesn't matter. We're just gonna make movies. That was their immediate reaction after Wonder Woman did well, and then Justice League starts to bomb, and we're hearing rumors, unsubstantiated rumors, that now they're all, oh no, maybe we should just shut the whole thing down for like 5 years or something. And I don't know if there's any truth to that, and hopefully that's not actually what they're doing. But like, you want to save this to what end? What they should be thinking is, the old crazy thing we were doing was a really bad idea, and we need to cut our losses.
And this is the last of that.
It's the last vestige of that. Yeah, they need to. They need to realize that Snyder is the new disaster artist and move on.
Yeah.
No, that's awful, and that's so.
And I think that's ridiculous for any movie, but specifically with Justice League, why would you save it? If you want to save it, just try to get people to watch it on home video.
Well, and it doesn't actually, because, okay, here's the long-term consequences these people aren't thinking of, okay? Bear with me.
Yeah.
So, if no one's went and saw this movie, because, like, I could have campaigned like this for Nice Guys, right? Like, I love Nice Guys. I saw it twice in theaters. I wish everyone had gone and seen Nice Guys.
Sure, but that's more of a word-of-mouth thing. People didn't go because they didn't know about it.
Okay, but if me and everybody I knew went to that movie 6 times and we got the sales up, right? Like,
yeah.
Like we really made an impact, and they're gonna make a second one. You know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna have to spend 6 times again because still no one's gonna go see that movie. If these if these people buy 6 tickets, they're not getting more people into the theater to change their opinion. They'll make another movie and they'll have to do this again.
Yeah, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Because they're not getting more people into the theater.
It's like you haven't cloned yourself and become another person that's enjoying this film. You're just trying to beat the box office, right? Like, you're just stacking the deck.
They're not thinking about the long-term cost it's going to take them to single-handedly hold up the DCEU.
But it's just for them. They're like, well, I want one more, and so I'll keep making sure that another one happens. But yeah, do they think they're changing anybody's minds with it? No, that's a really good point.
Yeah, the way it's worked, because there's like a blurb, like a paragraph that goes around like pitching the idea, like why you would go 6 times. And what bothers me about it is how it tries to like
6 is pretty arbitrary.
Like
if we united the 7, they'd be buying 7 tickets.
Yep.
Right?
It's trying to like make it into this like morale boosting, like, let's come together for our heroes, they came together for us kind of thing, and that's what makes me hate it even more.
They came together with their
I feel like it's
hundreds
like
of $1 million of
ugly
paychecks.
Sandcastle. It's like, this idea is an ugly sandcastle. I just want to kick it and destroy it, but it's so like stupid and kind of cute that I'm like, you go ahead, guys, dream on, like, go ahead.
Like, I didn't hate that movie. It's not good. I had a good time with it
same here.
one time. I went a second time, and there's just so little substance.
It turns
in
out
that movie.
is actually a Saturday morning cartoon.
It's not rewatchable by any stretch of the imagination. This for people that are thinking right now, because I know there are some. Well, Cap, you completely changed your mind and did a 180 on BVS, which is not really what happened. That's not what's going on here either. It's not rewatchable. I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that it was disposable, which I wanted from it because I didn't want it to tell me it was important, and I liked that I could relax and I didn't have to think about a movie that was not thoughtful. Those were my standards for these movies at this point. And so I'm not saying critically it's a good movie. You're talking about
it's just enjoyable.
There is a big difference between your enjoyment of a thing, as I always say, and what like the number on Rewind would be. You know what I mean?
There's a difference between feeling it and like a rating.
That's a 1.5 or a 2, but I had fun the first time I saw it, you know.
Sure.
So anyway, I feel like I'm having to explain to Rasco right now why I don't have the hatred for that film that he does.
Oh, I mean, it actually brings me a lot of joy. Like I hate the film in a positive way.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, but I mean, I gotta ask you, what were you expecting? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I was expecting exactly what I got. But I thought that it wouldn't be exactly like it was even more of what I was expecting.
Really?
That's what I loved about it.
But Rasco, I was able to track anything that happened. That was very exciting for me. Like, I understood the plot.
Some of the just basic like technical filmmaking in that movie is so laughable to me that I just can't even take it seriously. On
I can't take it seriously either.
The same way. Suicide Squad is way more. It's easy to follow that movie compared to BVS, but Suicide Squad is so terribly made. Like the craftsmanship is so bad.
Yeah, and obviously I'm coming at things more from a story place than just a filmmaking place. But you're right. When you look at what you saw on screen and the dollar amount that it took to make that movie, yeah. And as we've said before, if it cost half that, they'd make their money back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because for any other movie, $90 million opening weekend is a fine weekend.
Justice League might be one of those movies.
Almost any movie.
Mm-hmm.
The footage that we have not seen that was filmed might have cost more than everything that was actually in the movie.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Is Infinity War a $300 million movie?
I think it's $250.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because they put every actor in Hollywood in it.
No, because was it Ultron's $150, right? I think Ultron's $150.
Think it is.
So it's probably like $200, maybe.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like...
But they didn't reshoot half the movie.
Yeah.
It could be if they reshot half the movie.
Yeah, but it also has, 67 superheroes instead of 6.
That's true. True.
And it's anyway. We should move on. We're getting into newsy things that I was going to talk about later on, but you brought that up, and I had a swirling vortex of thoughts. Eric, what would you like to rant about, sir?
I'm going to rant about something that occurred to me while I was crafting.
Thank you for that rant, Rasco. That was wonderful.
While I was crafting a Christmas list, and I realized how difficult it is for me to craft a Christmas list. Because
when you say craft, I'm thinking about glue sticks and sorry.
Because no. When I make a Christmas list, it's a piece of art. I am crafting a Christmas list.
Wait. Am I gonna get your Christmas list for Christmas?
Maybe.
Is that all right?
It's good enough. No. What I discovered was if you're not me or you,
I open up the present, Eric. I'm not sure about this. No. Check it twice.
No. Read through it.
Sorry.
It's got setup and payoff. It's designed so that like the stuff on the top is it rhymes with the stuff on the bottom. It's beautifully made.
His Christmas list bookends with a voiceover. I don't even know how he did that. That's amazing.
Well, I got one of those cards where you can record the.
Oh yeah, you open it up and then.
But
Spider-Man, stop narrating.
I discovered that comics, when I'm not doing omnibuses, which is what I tend to kind of go for Christmas, is for Christmas and birthdays. I ask for the more expensive books I'm not going to buy.
Right.
When I'm not
you
doing
want a book that takes as long to read as it does to watch the show.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm not doing that, it becomes way more complicated if you are not, say, a viewer of this show. I was looking at some New 52 or not news. I was looking at some Rebirth books, and I'm like, if I send someone Green Arrow Volume 1, there are 4 Green Arrow Volume 1s listed on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
Now you gotta get like Rebirth or New 52, or like you put the writer in. Like now it gets really complicated.
Yeah.
Most superhero comics like this because we reboot so often, and we don't do anything in the tags to differentiate book to book to book. We gotta figure something out. It's really hard to.
You're absolutely right, and we have complained about this kind of thing a lot, where we don't label things right. The volume thing is obnoxious, even with singles. Of course, it's really problematic. But may I suggest that there is a way, at least on your end, to combat this, which is you don't like hand write or print off your Christmas lists and hand them to someone. Put the links in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can do
Christmas
that.
links should be Christmas links. Christmas lists should be links now. You know, you logged onto the internet, and you checked it twice. Like that's
fair.
That's what it should be now.
That's fair.
But you're right. I mean,
yeah, but
it makes it hard on us too, not just people trying to buy you presents.
Yeah,
or, you know, buy you comics.
Yeah, it's just I feel like that's. There has to be a better way to communicate to the outside world. No wonder no one's getting the comics. How many kids? How many kids do you bet? Like asked for like the first 3 volumes of Teen Titans and gets like a New 52 volume, a Rebirth volume, and like a Jeff Johns volume. Like they got 1, 2, 3, but they don't follow. Like that must happen. Like that, and that sucks.
Yeah.
We've got to figure out a better way to communicate to the outside world that's not keeping up with this stuff and following and.
Well, and I hear this from people all the time, that folks that think the medium, looks like fun and they're not immediately repelled by words and pictures will say, there's just too much of it, I can't get it, I don't know where to start.
Where do I start?
Yeah. And this is part of the reason that's problematic.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it might also be a hard sell if we kept the numberings, let's say with New 52 we kept the numberings into Rebirth. That's also a hard sell where it's like, I don't want to start with Volume 8.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's a really good starting point. But yeah, but it says Volume 8. Like, right. I don't know what the answer is. Well, I'm not the answer. I'm just the question.
Yeah, part of the thing is you have to get people out of the mindset of TV watching.
Mm-hmm.
But then comics are written now with the mindset of TV watching, and in a lot of ways that we keep talking about, they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Especially we keep talking about the season format and things like that that we think more comics should be doing. But like to get people to start where things are right now or a couple of years ago or something, you have to be like, no, you don't read comics from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are comics you read from the beginning, but there are a lot of comics you do not read from the beginning.
If you want to read mainstream, like you don't start at Stan Lee for Spider-Man.
Right. Well, I mean,
I don't know where you start for Spider-Man.
I think you do. I think you start at Stan Lee and then there's things you skip.
But if you're just jumping into comics,
and you're
not familiar with the history and like what you're getting into, if somebody just saw Homecoming and wants to read something, you give them Ultimate Spider-Man. Right. You don't give them. Right. You don't go all the way back to the beginning and start with Stan Lee if you're just getting into the medium. I don't think.
Yeah, you don't want to make it a commitment for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rants has now officially already gone longer than GNN did, and I still have my rant to do. Gentlemen, it's time for a t-shirt rant. I can't believe I've never ranted about this. This is one of my least favorite things in the history of me. It has happened to me multiple times.
Has this ever happened to you?
It probably has to a lot of our viewers. This is, I gotta put on my yelly voice because this ticks me off, okay? And I love my mom, and if you're watching right now, I love you, Mom, but this is a thing my mom has done before, and it's way, way worse when people you don't know do it. Like, when my mom does it, it's almost cute. When people you've never met before do it, and it's even worse, I'm not even telling you what it is yet, it's even worse because we live in a day and age where the geeky thing is like way, way more in, of course, than it ever has been before, so it's even stupider. Rasco, when I have a bat symbol on my shirt, and I meet someone in public I've never met before, like at a cash register at a grocery store, which is where this happened to me last week, and they call me Batman, I want to punch them in the face. I hate that! That makes me really angry!
Because cheese?
What's that?
Hello, because cheese?
Hello, because cheese? Yeah, people think it's cute. They're like, oh, have a nice day, Batman. Oh, I hate that. Have you ever had that?
I have.
Does it bother you?
Yeah.
ugh. I don't like it. I'm not 12. Look, I know I dress like I'm 12, but everybody does now.
And that's where I hate it. Where like it'll.
But here's the thing. I get it more if it's somebody that's like a senior citizen. Okay, like somebody that's like 65 and says that to me. I get it more. This guy was younger than I am, and like I can't handle it. He was like 24. Yeah, thanks, Batman. I'm like. I just gave him this look. I hate
it when it feels like the coach in.
I'm irrationally angry about this, but it really bothers me.
I hate it when it feels like the coach of PE that doesn't want to bother to learn your names. It's like yeah, Batman over there. I get that. Like it feels so no.
It's condescending.
It's condescending and it's dismissive, and I feel like.
But too often they think you'll think it's fun. You know, where it's like, I mean, I guess I don't want to sympathize with these people because I don't like it, but
don't do what I did. I gave my rant too much credit to the opposing point of view. Don't give them any sympathy.
But I get people who, I guess, who do that and they think that they're like trying to appeal to you on a personal level or something, or they're like making a connection or something, where it's like, but. Just compliment the shirt. Like I'm not wearing a Batman costume.
Also,
you know? like if I've got a beard and I walk into a grocery store, and I don't do this, but but let's say I've got a full beard and I walk into a grocery store wearing a red Star Trek TNG uniform, and somebody calls me Riker. Yeah, sure. I'm wearing a Star Trek uniform and I have a beard. I look like Riker. I went to a party once. I had a beard and I was wearing. And somebody called me Riker, and they probably thought that's what I was dressed up as. Like okay, but I'm not wearing a costume. I'm just dressing. You know, like right now, if somebody was like, "Oh, hi 90s," that's not anything like as bad as pretending like you're wearing a costume.
Also,
I hate that.
Also, what needs to stop is if you are just wearing a logo, a bat symbol, Green Lantern symbol, Superman symbol, anything that's just a logo, stop saying it's cool. Stop acting like it's a unique or special shirt. It's a logo.
Well, especially these days when everybody uses them.
Yeah, everyone's wearing them.
Well, the problem is, I made this mistake years ago. I'll never do this again. We'll get a lot of show to do. We got to be careful.
Yeah.
We're
putting our yellow voices away.
Yeah. So I'm calm now. In between,
yeah, that voice is gonna help.
In between this and in between this and the next segment, I'm gonna have a lozenge and meditate. But what were we talking? Oh, but the logo thing. 15 years ago, I might have seen somebody wearing a Batman shirt and assumed they were a Batman fan. I don't do that anymore.
No, but I hate it. I see this. It's been done
but
to me.
But that's why it's not. It's not cool. And I'm not saying like it's not cool to wear a shirt like that.
No, there's nothing wrong with
it's
it.
not unusual.
It's not cool to be like, oh man, hey, cool shirt. It's a yellow bat symbol. What are you talking? I can walk outside and find 6 people. I can throw rocks and hit 6 people wearing a Batman shirt that has the logo on it. Like, it's different if it's a cool picture.
But if those 6 people bought 6 tickets to Justice League, we could save Justice
I'm stopping them by throwing rocks at them. That was.
We will save Justice League with those 6 people. With their 6 tickets. Anyway, that's going to be it for Geeks Not Nerds this week. If you're just watching that segment as a separate video, we sure appreciate you tuning in.